to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up is the consent agenda from our last meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Mr. Little?
Aye.
Mr. Dreskovich?
Aye.
Mr. Sommer?
Aye.
Ms. Mathis?
Aye.
Motion carries.
At this time, planning commission members may declare any conflict or communication that they might have had to influence their ability to impartially consider the agenda items.
I did have some questions about that, recusing myself. Because I work for a concrete company with the possibility of being hired to do a shit ton of concrete paving. You know, in that situation, would I have to recuse myself? Because, I mean, essentially, other companies could look at me being here as, like, you know, an influence, I guess, on that. How's that kind of play out? Like, should this be something that I would have to recuse myself from because I have some kind of interaction with the company that could be picked up or spoken to about said job? And, I mean, they're gonna make money, and my vote could in a sense, sway one way or the other, or benefit my company, hurt another company, or something of that sort. Would that be something I'd have to, like, recuse myself from?
I don't think that if there's no contracts that have been agreed to yet, your company is not officially doing business with any potential future project. I don't necessarily think you need to. However, if you would feel more comfortable in recusing yourself, you're certainly welcome to.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure we're, you know, I don't want to bring any lawsuits to the city or anything of the sort, you know, because of reliability training and all that, because it just seems like, you know, you don't want to have a fox in the hen house kind of thing.
Yeah, you're looking for connections of direct financial benefit, and like Zach was talking about, is that if there are contracts or the company that you're working for is before the commission. But it really is a decision that you as planning commissioner get to make.
Okay. Now, would that mean somebody like Josh Lewis being employed by Burns McDonald, having a vested interest in data centers, maybe not making votes or anything like that?
So I'm not commenting on a city council member. What I'm telling you is about if you have a question, you're welcome to call the city attorney in advance. But generally, it is about a direct personal benefit based on contracts, and the financial gain related to that. But I'm certainly not commenting on.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we didn't have any foxes in the hen house, because that's not how we should be doing business, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure the fox and hen house piece. But I think it's about direct financial benefit and contracts that exist.
Understood.
But again, neither Zach, I think it's worth saying out loud, neither Zach nor I attorneys. So if you
I
have
get
a
it.
question or want to do that, then certainly happy to put you in touch with the city attorney.
Yep. Just wanted to ask, because it seems like a really odd situation, so.
I don't have anything.
No. All right. We will move into new business. R22026-0001, rezoning for DeLong Trucking located at 32612 West 191st Street. Can the applicant come forward?
Ladies and gentlemen of the Planning Commission, thanks for having us. My name is Matt Edlin, I'm with McClure Engineering. Sam Haney with DeLong Companies is out of town, otherwise he would have been here, so we apologize for not being here. But for this portion, I want to go through, and I just also want to say, appreciated working with Zach and Chris throughout this process. They've been very helpful. But just want to go through as regards to rezoning portion. The location of the property is 32612 West 191st Street. That's what you see there outlined in red. The existing zoning is IH, or heavy industrial. That was done approximately in the 2012-2013 time. I don't know the exact dates. The zoning and uses of the surrounding properties are either agricultural, logistics park, or rural agricultural / residential. They kind of speak for themselves when I say one, kind of means the other. The development in the surrounding area, again, where I just mentioned, the logistics park is just to the north and a little bit to the west. Heavy industrial is needed to the east and straight to the south. And then the rural residential is kind of off to the southeast and a little bit. Officially, the logistics park is zoned rural residential, but those are the adjacent uses. That's all the information I have right now. So, if you have any questions, this is where I sit now. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. City staff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry you have to deal with me this evening.
It's a pleasure.
So as the applicant said, this is a request to rezone the subject property from the City of Edgerton, IH, Heavy Industrial District to LP, Logistics Park. To rezone to LP District. To accommodate the potential use of a cargo container storage facility and maintenance facility on the east side of the subject property. The current zoning designation of IH does not allow for that type of use. However, the zoning designation of LP does allow the use with a conditional use permit. The applicant has also applied for a conditional use permit that will be heard later on in this meeting. There is an existing grain silo on the west side of the facility. Should this application be approved, it would be a permitted use by right in the LP as it is an agricultural use. So the 20.951 acre subject property was annexed into the city on March 25th, 2010. And the western portion of the property was rezoned to the IH district on December 27th, 2012. The eastern portion of the property was rezoned to LP on March 28th, 2013. The west portion of the subject property was developed under the requirements outlined in final site plan S12-21-12, which was revised in 2020 with updates to the landscape plan, which was final site plan FS 2020-10. The east parking area was developed under final site plan FS 2020-0004, which was then amended in 2021 to include a gate that's currently on the site as shown in final site plan FS 2021-08. So city staff has reviewed the rezoning application with respect to the Edgerton Unified Development Code, or UDC, the laws of Kansas, as well as the golden criteria as established by the Kansas Supreme Court in 1978. All of those criteria are found in the staff report. I'm just going to highlight a select few. So the character of the neighborhood, including but not limited to zoning, existing and approved land use, plating, density of residential areas, natural features, and open space. The property to the southeast is zoned Johnson County Rural, or RUR, and is used for primarily for tree farming. That property is not platted. To the north and west of the subject property is the BNSF intermodal facility, which is currently zoned City of Edgerton Agriculture AG and is not platted as well. The adjoining property to the east is developed with 2 warehouses, both zoned LP and have been platted and are on separate lots. The property to the south across West 191st Street is developed with a cargo container storage and maintenance facility, is also zoned LP and is platted. There are no residential units near the subject property and the immediate area is industrial in nature. The compatibility of the proposed zoning and uses permitted within the zoning and uses nearby property. The proposed LP district is compatible with the existing LP zone properties to the east and south of the subject property, as well as the intermodal facility. The length of time the subject property has remained vacant under the current zoning designation. So the western portion of the subject property has been zoned IH, since late 2012. The eastern portion of the property has been zoned LP since 2013. The western portion was developed in 2013, with the eastern portion of the property being developed in 2020. So while neither have remained vacant, they are separate zoning designations currently. The environmental impacts that the use is allowed to the proposed zoning would create, if any, including but not limited to excessive storm water runoff, water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, excessive nighttime lighting, or other environmental harm. The site is currently developed in accordance with the UDC and the requirements listed to prevent any excessive stormwater runoff, water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, excessive nighttime lighting, or other environmental harm. They currently meet the UDC, so the rezoning would not add any of those additional environmental harms. Consistency with the comprehensive plan, capital improvement plan, ordinances, policies, and applicable city code to the city of Edgerton. The subject property is designated as business/logistics park on the future land use map of the city's comprehensive plan, which the LP district aligns with. The proposed zoning is also consistent with several goals of the comp plan, including, but of course not limited to, goal 2.1, promote a balanced mix of land uses that supports growth and development. Goal 2.2, grow in an efficient and sustainable manner that considers the needs and impacts of expanding services. Goal 2.3, promote quality new development and infill redevelopment to ensure all areas of Edgerton continue to thrive. Goal 5.1, continue to support Edgerton's specialization in transportation and warehousing while also diversifying its economic base. City staff does recommend approval of rezoning application RZ 2026-0001 to Long Trucking with no stipulations. With that, I will stand for any questions.
At this time, I will open the public hearing for rezoning application RZ 2026-0001. Chris, has anyone signed up for this?
Yes, ma'am. The first name we have on the list is Carrie Schmidt.
My name is Carrie Schmidt, and I am here tonight to put on the record and to urge Mayor Roberts and the City Council to address a clear potential conflict of interest before any vote on the appeal of the denied final site plan for the proposed DMAC data center at 31800 West 196th Street in Edgerton. City Council member Joshua Lewis is a senior government audit and contract analyst at Burns and
So Chair,
McDonald.
just for, I'm sorry.
This firm is a major
Yeah,
provider.
absolutely.
This
This
was,
is not public comment like it is at a city council meeting, it is a public hearing related to this application.
okay,
So
well,
on advice of the city attorney, Chair has information she can read that you can do about this application. So if you have public comment about this application,
Is there a reason you're so nasty and rude to people all the time?
The public is reminded that this is a meeting for the city business of zoning approvals, which requires that the commission focus on the issues presented in the applications to give a fair hearing to the applicant and persons who may oppose the application. Please be fair and respectful of the rights of these parties by not addressing matters outside of the application or the issues raised by it, or matters currently before the commission.
my only thing that I would like to counter that with is that, I did hear Adam talk about this, and so, but it is city business.
It is not the application before us tonight.
I'll fully admit, it doesn't fall in line with this though, so. Be it as it may.
Okay, all right, well, I'm still asking for that, for what I said, okay, and I'll
Are
turn
there,
this into.
is there anyone else signed up?
Mr. James Olden.
Commission, James Wilton, President, Elevate Edgerton, 30750 West 193rd Street.
Hey, James.
Oh,
Wait, give me
I'm
one
sorry.
second. Sorry. There you go.
Okay, yeah. I actually am here to speak in regards to the business matter at hand tonight. I'm just here to speak in support of the rezoning application. As staff report had mentioned, when you look at the neighboring uses around this facility, what this facility is being used for, what they're looking at using this facility for in subsequent applications, it does fit the nature and the area of the logistics park itself. They were one of the first tenants in LPKC back when the BNSF intermodal facility opened, and so they've been operating as they are for well over a decade now. So I hope that you take this all into consideration when you consider this rezoning application and find that it fits with what we're trying to do in LPKC. Thank you.
That is all I have.
All right, at this time, we will close the public hearing for this rezoning application. Commission, is there any questions for staff that may come up for the applicant that may come up? Okay. At this time, I will open it up for consideration.
I think it fits LPKC pretty well, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Oh,
Sorry, I had to write some notes. Mr. Sommer?
Aye.
Ms. Mathis?
Aye.
Mr. Dreskovich?
Aye.
Mr. Little?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on, we are at CU 2026-0001, conditional use permit for DeLong Trucking located at 32612 West 191st Street. Applicant?
Hello again. Again, for the conditional use permit, I'm going to be reading similar things to what I've read before, but I'll go ahead and read them. For the property at 32612 West 191st Street, which you see there outlined in red, the existing zoning was IH Heavy Industrial established in late 2012. Thank you, Chris, for the update. And the zoning and uses of surrounding properties are agricultural, logistics park, and rural residential. The development in the surrounding area is the same, what I just mentioned there. The statement of purpose as to why this request is being made is, there's also been mentions to combine these areas to add a machine shed, but also to do the cargo stacking to the left. And then certainly here to make stipulations, we're happy to cooperate. We acknowledge any stipulations that we make. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
Yes, ma'am. So applicant is requesting a conditional use permit, or CUP, for a cargo container storage and maintenance facility at 32612 West 191st Street. So as you just heard, the IH does not allow for that particular use, but the LP zoning does under, with a conditional use permit. So with this proposal, a maintenance building is also proposed on the southwest corner of the eastern parking area, if that makes sense. No changes are proposed to the west portion where the grain silo currently is. The applicant is proposing stacking to only take place on the east parking facility, and yet they have indicated that it will all meet the required setbacks. So section 7.2.J.8 of the UDC outlines specific requirements that must be met and information must be provided for the submittal to be complete and code compliant. I'm going to kind of quickly, briefly touch on those. So for the access, the site does currently have access for the parking facility off of 191st Street. They also have a right in and right exit only off of and onto 191st Street, with one access to the western grain silo portion of the street off of Intermodal Parkway. There are no changes proposed to the existing access with this application. For the exterior lighting, the applicant has provided a photometric plan that meets the requirements of section 10.1 of the UDC. All lighting will be kept on site and will not spill onto neighboring properties. The gate system does emit light when a vehicle or truck passes through, but that is scheduled to turn off shortly afterwards after a truck passes through. Minimum lot size, the legal description provided on the final site plan indicates that the site is roughly 20.951 acres, which meets the requirement of a minimum of 20 acres. Noise, the applicant has noted the requirements on the final site plan and they have acknowledged that the requirement to not exceed 60 dBA adjacent to residential properties and 70 dBA adjacent to non-residential properties will be met at all times. For paving, the existing parking lot of the subject parcel where they propose the stacking to take place is paved with asphalt and will remain as such. Parking, the applicant did provide a table of parking spaces. The added machine shop will result in a net loss of 13 parking spaces of the overall site, and no loading areas are to be used for the storage of containers either on or off a trailer or chassis. The proposal does meet the parking requirements of the UDC. Cargo container stacking, applicant has noted that they are not permitted to exceed more than 5 in number. They have acknowledged the fact that they will not be exceeding that, they will meet that. Same with chassis and stacking, they will not exceed the maximum allowed of 5. The screening and landscaping, the applicant included the previously approved landscape plan that was, like I said, approved by the Planning Commission. It does provide adequate screening and it does meet the standards of the UDC. Setbacks and separation distance, applicant has noted that the setbacks will be greater than or equal to the height of the stacking that is required for the UDC, and the applicant has acknowledged that the requirement will be met at all times. There is no new signage proposed with this application. If the applicant does wish to add signage, it will have to adhere to Article 12 of the UDC. Final site plan, FSP 2026-0004 has been submitted and will be heard later on this meeting. Additional review comments regarding the final site plan are noted with that associated staff report. The applicant has acknowledged the stipulation regarding all governmental rules, regulations, codes, specifications must be met at all times, and there are no deviations proposed with this application. So similar to a rezoning, a CUP does have to go through some additional review requirements, the extent of which there's a need in the community for proposed use, demand for businesses to store and maintain cargo containers and chassis such as this facility proposed is a byproduct of the activity in and around the intermodal facility in LPKC. Primary function of LPKC is to transport and redistribute containers and the products that they contain. The ability for existing businesses on the subject property to add cargo container stacking will support the existing business operations. Character and neighborhood of the area, subject parcel is currently zoned IH, which we just heard a rezoning for a small portion to be LP, which would allow for this particular use. It is abutted LP zone properties to the east and south with the intermodal facility to the north and west. The nature and intensity of the proposed use and compatibility of zoning and uses of nearby properties. Proposed use of the cargo container storage and maintenance facilities and ancillary use to LPKC operations, and it is compatible with the LP zoning. Only proposed change in the site is the introduction introduction of the stacking cargo container facility, as well as the machine shop in the southwest corner of the parking area. So, my apologies, got lost in my notes. The extent of which the proposed may detrimentally affect nearby properties. The addition of the stacking will not detrimentally affect nearby properties. The required setbacks will be adhered to, so if containers were to fall, they fall there on the property. That's common, that's what ITI has just to the south of this facility. They know the requirements that they have to meet those setbacks at all times, or they get a nasty letter from Zachary. That adequacy of ingress and egress to and within the site, no proposed changes to any of the access as I discussed earlier. All utilities on site, there will be no new effect to the capacity or safety of the road network. The environmental impacts of the proposed, the applicant has acknowledged the noise requirements as discussed earlier, and it will ensure that they are met at all times. City staff has not received any noise complaints from any of the other cargo container facilities in LPKC. Photometric plan has been submitted and does meet the requirements of the UDC. There are no changes proposed to the stormwater management plan, and the runoff will not change. City engineer has reviewed the site plan and does not have any comments regarding stormwater or runoff at all. Consistency with the comp plan, future land use map within the comprehensive plan does designate the subject property as business/logistics park. Proposed cargo container storage facility does align with that as well. So city staff does recommend approval of conditional use permit application CU 2026-0001 with the following stipulations. The noise level of the operations may not exceed 60 dBA in any adjacent residential district or 70 dBA in any other district. The stacking of cargo containers and chassis cannot exceed 5. The setback of all stacked cargo containers and chassis must always be greater than or equal to than that of the stacked, the setback has to be equal to the height of the stacked containers or chassis. And all facilities must abide by any and all governmental rules, regulations, codes, specifications that are adopted hereafter, and the applicant has acknowledged and agrees to all those stipulations. With that, I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions? All right, at this time, I will open the public hearing for conditional use permit application CU2026-0001. And as a reminder, these public comments are to this application only.
The first person I have signed up is Carrie Schmidt.
Okay, so again, my name is Carrie Schmidt. I do want to address some city business. The Board of Zoning Appeals is supposed to be made up of the planning commissioners per the website. And one of those people being on that board from the city council has a conflict. And that's Joshua Lewis, and he needs to recuse his vote.
This
And
is
since
not,
you won't let public
Ma'am.
comment happen Thursday
Ma'am.
regarding this issue, this is on
Ma'am.
record tonight. We
Ma'am.
demand that you address it.
this is
You
not,
cannot ignore the truth.
this is not a part of
This is city business
No,
though,
this
and
is-
that's.
for the
It's not
planning
city business
commission.
in totality, it has to be in the
For
planning commission. It's about the zoning
No, it's-
applications before us.
The
right
Board
now.
of Zoning Appeals is supposed to be made
Ma'am.
up of the planning commissioners per the website.
Ma'am.
Sorry. I
It
understand what you're
is
saying. That
about
is what I-
this application.
It is about this
Okay.
application.
And
Right. Okay, I wanted to read, hopefully, you got that down, but.
ma'am, thank you. Do you have
Am I
anything
a
with
threat
this
of arrest if
application?
they don't leave? I'm
No,
just
ma'am.
curious. Okay.
What we're saying is that by state statute, for the planning commission, it is about the zone, the public comment is more narrow in a planning commission hearing
So-
about this particular application.
Okay.
So if you have
State
something,
statute does also have some stuff about Joshua Lewis.
state statute
So I'm
for
just gonna
the,
throw that out there.
Do we have anyone else sign up?
Yes, ma'am.
James Oltman, President Elevate Edgerton, 30750 West 193rd Street.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Don't get hit the buttons, I got a direct.
You wanna be my
I
tiny
got a
guy?
direct shot.
Perfect.
Yeah, well,
Again, actually here to speak about this application in front of you. I'm here to speak in support of this application as staff.
Oh,
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Well, that's fun.
I kinda like that.
I'm sorry.
You're good. Speak in support of this application, as we just went through, the property's been rezoned now to the LP district. You've got the same type of uses to the south of this location, also just down to the down the street to the east as well. Those facilities have gone through this exact same process and have to adhere to the exact same criteria that this applicant is meeting. So I support the application and urge you guys to apply everything consistently and fairly across the board as you have in the past, and consider approving the CUP that's in front of you tonight. Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's it, okay. At this time, we will close the public hearing. Commissioners, any discussion on the conditional use? Okay, at this time, I would take a consideration for conditional use permit.
Madam Chair? Okay.
We noticed there was an omission in the stipulations.
Oh,
Conditional use
okay.
permits typically carry a time limit of
Okay.
10 years.
Okay.
So if staff could add that
Add that to the
stipulation, that 10
stipulation.
year,
Okay.
that would be 10 years from the date of approval by council, assuming council will make it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So that would be the fifth condition. Well, there you go.
I thought I was missing it.
So do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with stipulations, including the last one.
Second.
Mr. Little,
Aye.
Ms. Mathis,
Aye.
Mr. Jessup, Mr. Sommer. Motion carried.
And finally, on the agenda tonight, FSP 2026-0004, final site plan for DeLong Trucking located at 32612 West 191st Street. Applicant, would you come up?
Certainly. Thank you again. Matt Evelyn from McClure, one last time. I'm the applicant. I mentioned the owner is away, couldn't be here today. The brief history of the project has been mentioned already. It was built went online in September 2013. There were some of the accessory parking. There was accessory parking on the east side that was added approximately 5-6 years ago. The actual site plan details. What's being added is a new machine shed in the southwest corner right there. Thank you. That's a 2,400 square foot machine shed. The other buildings already exist there, on the order of 20,000 square foot there, right there on the west side. The proposed user of the building is the DeLong Company, and then the access points that we mentioned, there are a couple off 191st Street there on the eastern edge, and then kind of halfway out on the west side, access the property to the west. Circulation through the site has been noted as well. The traffic rules were noted. Really, that's not going to change. The same traffic accesses that are already there. The circulation rules very similar to what it was before. Anticipated traffic levels are really going to change. So, as are the setbacks to the buildings and property lines. And we mentioned the stacking. We won't be stacking 5 high right next to the property. We're going to be staggering it need be to maintain code. The drainage of the site really is unchanged as well. There is retention runoff on the eastern side of the river. We'll go into that. And then the landscape plan was also unchanged and really along our 91st Street. We include that in our site plan as well. The building architecture specifically for the, words are hard right now, machine shed, sorry. That's what you see there. I mean, what's meant to be, and I actually did talk to Sam before he left today. He mentioned like it's meant to be a rock veneer from 0 foot to 8 foot per the code. And then it's gonna be stucco above that to the top of the roof line of the building. The lighting on the side has been mentioned, is gonna be changed. Yeah,
applicant is requesting a revised final site plan approval for a proposed building on the southwest corner of their parking facility and the proposed introduction of cargo container stacking and storage to the property in accordance with the conditional use permit application you all just recommended for approval. The proposed building is 2,400 square feet in size and will be used as a machine shop. Shop will reduce the number of parking stalls by 13 for the entire site, though the amount of parking provided will remain compliant with the UDC. No changes in the grading of the site are proposed except immediately adjacent to the new building, and there are no changes to any of the other existing structures. Additionally, the applicant has stated that there are to be no changes to the lot lines, as Mr. Evelyn just stated. So zoning standards for the LP were used for review. Luckily, should the city council not approve the rezoning or the conditional use permit, this review would become null and void, and it would have to be re-reviewed under the current IH standards. So the minimum open space, again, this is under the LP district, does require a maximum of 50% of a property can be covered by structures and parking garages over 1 story. Currently, the property is approximately 98.42% is not covered by a structure. Proposal does include a little bit more, so it's 98.16, so they're cutting it close, but they still do meet the requirements of the UDC. The maximum building height of the LP district is 110 feet. The existing building height does not propose to change with the application. The current site does have a 95-foot tall grain storage structure with a grain conveyor and piping system that does go up to 115 feet tall. The LP district does have a height exemption for conveyors, thus the existing structure does meet the zoning requirements. And the new machine shop is proposed to be 18 feet 8 inches in height, meeting the requirements of the LP district. Floor area ratio, maximum FAR allowed in LP is 3:1. The proposed development has a FAR of 0.02:1, so it definitely meets the requirements there. The building setbacks for the front is 50 feet. The proposed machine shop will be set back from the front property line approximately 51 feet. The existing building is approximately 277 feet from the front property line and is not proposed to be modified, so the front yard setbacks have been met. For the side yard setbacks, it is 25 feet. That is not adjacent to residential, so commercial or industrial zoning district. The proposal exceeds the maximum side yard setback requirements by providing a setback of at least 30 feet from the nearest structure to the western property line and approximately 146 feet from the eastern property line to the nearest structure. Along the rear, it does have a 25-foot yard setback requirement. The northern property line is approximately 140 feet from the northernmost edge of the existing structures, which does exceed the UDC requirement. Building separation, all buildings in LP district must have a minimum building separation of 20 feet. The machine shop is approximately 250 feet from the existing building, so it does meet that requirement as well. The existing structures were part of a previously approved final site plan S-12-21-12, and there are no proposed changes to those structures. The facades of those structures were approved at that time and will be pre-existing non-conforming structures and are allowed to remain as they are with the approval of the rezoning. For the building materials, buildings in the LP district must consist of materials included but not limited to stone, brick, glass block, tile, cast metal, cast or cultured stone, concrete such as tilt-up walls, or a combination of those materials. The new proposed machine shop, as Matt just said, the applicant, they are proposing a stone or rock veneer about 8 feet to 8 feet above grade, and then stucco, half-inch stucco above that stone veneer, and that does meet the UDC requirements. And the color palette does meet the UDC requirements as per in the proposed rendering. So just as long as those don't drastically change between now and building permit application, which will of course be reviewed by planning staff as well, that does meet the UDC requirements. UDC does require 1 off-street parking space for each 250 square feet of service floor area in office and research buildings. The existing development currently holds 676 total parking stalls for passenger vehicles. The proposal will reduce that a little bit to 663 total stalls. So it does meet the requirement, which requires 67 at a minimum. So they exceeded just a little bit. UDC requires that all maneuvering of vehicles shall take place on the site or within a mutual access easement. The applicant did provide a truck turning template in their submitted plan showing how all maneuvering can take place on site or with using that cross access easement with the existing access point on the far eastern portion of the property. 1 loading space is required to be provided adjacent to public access way or private service drive as the building exceeds 10,000 square feet. Existing building does have 5 loading spaces on the rear of it that's closer to the green silo. And as previously mentioned, the access points do exist there. They are not proposed to be changed at all. The previously approved landscape plan included with the site plan, no changes are proposed. That does meet their UDC requirements. As I mentioned previously, the city engineer did not have any comments regarding the proposal and stormwater runoff, and the photometric plans it does meet the UDC requirements. As stated earlier, there is a gate there that does emit light, but as a truck passes through, that will turn off shortly thereafter. City staff does recommend approval of final site plan application FSP 2026-0004, final site plan for Dawn Trucking with a few stipulations outlined in the staff report. With that, I will stand for any questions.
Okay. Do what? No, okay, sorry. All right, at this time, we will open the final public hearing tonight for the final site plan application FSP 2026-0004. And I again will read the statement prepared by our city attorney. The public is reminded that this is a meeting for city business of zoning approvals, which requires that the commission focus on the issues presented in the applications to give a fair hearing to the applicant and persons who may oppose the application. Please be fair and respectful of the rights of these parties by not addressing matters outside of the application or the issues raised by it or matters currently before the commission. Do we have anyone sign up?
Yes, ma'am, I have Mr. James Olden signed up.
Okay. James Ullman, President, Elevate Edgerton, 30750 West 193rd Street. Again, just here to speak in regards to the application in front of you, the final site plan. Here to speak in support of it. You've heard the staff report that other than the stipulations that they put in there, it does meet everything that's laid out in our UDC. We've talked about how the zoning fits now. The conditional use permit puts those additional stipulations in place. It fits well within the nature and the neighborhood of LPKC and serves a genuine business purpose in that facility. So I urge you all to consider and support this site plan application in front of you tonight. Thanks.
Anyone else? All right, at this time I will close the public hearing. Any discussion?
Mathis,
Aye.
Mr. Stoner,
Aye.
Mr. Little,
Alright,
Mr. Jeskovich.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Future meeting reminders, we have regular sessions on August 11th, September 8th, and October 23rd. Any city announcements?
13.
Sorry, 13th. Eyes are crossed. Any city announcements?
One announcement tonight, but from Mr. Clinton.
This will be my final planning commission meeting with the city of Edgerton. I have accepted a position with the city of Overland Park to be their planner there.
Well, congratulations.
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 no wonder they made you read tonight.
Right? Got it all out, this was practice. Well, good luck, Chris. It's been a pleasure working
Good
with
luck.
you. We will miss you here in Edge.
I'm going to miss it a lot too. It was not an easy decision, but it's the right one for my career and my family.
Well, remember, we're always here on the 3rd of July.
Of course.
And come down and speak.
Yeah, we'll prepare a
We'll let you sign up
statement
and
for you.
say something.
Appreciate it.
It really has been a pleasure, Chris.
I just wanted to thank Chris for his years of service here with the city of Edgerton and wish him well in the future endeavors. I just had you sad for us, but happy for you.
Making his eyes sweat. Any other city announcements? Any commissioner announcements? No?
Those are like commissioner announcements.
Yeah, we always. You're late. All right, I will accept a motion for adjourning.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that's it.
She got some of it out. Oh, they didn't? No, we didn't.
Just to. You should. I say eat away.
I'll take all that.
You take that.
I'll show them.
That's right.
Keep in mind that those are Valentine's colors.
I'm gonna get my money's worth. Especially that snarky
My
thing over
stocks
there
are
in the
like
corner.
6 months old.
I say public, I don't really understand why they even call us that. They just come in here and listen to what decisions they make. We don't have a say in nothing.
No, and that's the
I would like to
thing.
find the state statutes. Well, you can find those, like the states that we cannot speak.
Why is